Of all the mysteries to explore in the lands between, none have proven quite as perplexing as the crimson spear lodged in Queen Marika's side. For this theory, I had to delve into the real world to seek answers. Before we venture into the lands between, here's a quick shout out to Aoa.com, our sponsor. If you want runes, items, armor, and weapons right now, you can get it from these worthy tarnished, and by using the code in the description, you can get 3% off, courtesy of the Inhuman one. Upon entering the heart of the Erd Tree, the tarnished witnessed a sad sight indeed. The once proud Numen warrior queen, who had served as the vessel for the Elden Ring, now served as an example for all to see the severity of any transgressions against the greater will. Marika hanged from a rune arc, a fragment of the shattered Elden Ring. The item description states that the lower arc of the Elden Ring is held to be the basin in which its blessings pool. Perhaps this shard originates from this very arc. Although she seems to be bound to the highest point of the rune, we can be quite certain that she does not see her eternal imprisonment as any kind of blessing at all. Even her physical form showed serious signs of degradation. Her smooth skin took on cracks and seemed almost clay-like in appearance. But most noticeable of all was the crimson red spear lodged firmly in Marika's side. But who inflicted this wound? And for what reason? As I began to scour the in-game lore for any morsels of information, I couldn't help but think about how much Marika's state resembled that of a real-world figure, Jesus Christ. As bizarre as it may seem, the manner in which she was punished was undeniably inspired by crucifixion, a form of capital punishment made infamous by the Romans. In this method of execution, the victim was usually bound or nailed to a beam and left to hang until eventual death from exhaustion or asphyxiation. Crucifixions were performed in the public and were designed to serve as gruesome reminders to deter any from perpetrating any similar acts. After Jesus had endured such punishment, a Roman soldier pierced his side with a spear, inflicting a grave wound that would eventually lead to his death. This spear would take many names and would be depicted in many works of art as the Spear of Destiny or the Lance of Longinus, to name a few. It would seem that Marika's punishment was eerily familiar. She was bound to a beam of pure energy in her case, and was pierced by a crimson spear which seemed to corrode away at her immortality, as evidenced by her damaged limbs and torso. Interestingly enough, just meters away from the first step site of grace, the tarnished is greeted by the agonizing wails and moans of countless bound individuals, echoing their queen's punishment. After the shattering, small golden effigies of her crucifixion would be commonplace amongst the lands between and its denizens as tools of worship. Perhaps their true purpose was to send a message to any fledgling tarnished that answered the call of grace to adhere to the greater will's bidding, or face the consequences. If we return to our initial dilemma of who inflicted Queen Marika's spear wound, Occam's razor would lead us to believe that the simplest solution would be the most likely to be correct. If we follow this logic, then the Elden beast was the culprit and the one responsible for impaling Queen Marika. Any tarnished skilled enough to face off with the god incarnate may have been blessed by its grab attack that recreates a familiar scene. Upon being grabbed by the Elden beast, the tarnished is suspended in midair and bound defenseless to a rune arc, as a myriad of golden energy spears are thrust into their body. It would seem the mystery has been solved, but only the most observant tarnished would notice that the spears and any projectiles the Elden beast uses are exclusively gold. The spear lodged in Marika's side is clearly crimson in color, much more akin to the shade associated with the rune of destined death. Aside from the Numen assassins who slew Godwyn, Malekith the Black Blade was the only other individual known to wield this unique power. In order for Queen Marika's plot against the Greater Will to go as planned, she willingly betrayed her half-brother Malekith. The remembrance of the Black Blade reads, Malekith was a shadow-bound beast given to his Empyrean. Marika's sole need of her shadow was a vessel to lock away destined death. Even then, she betrayed him. Perhaps during Queen Marika's confinement, the Elden beast bound her to the rune arc as Malekith dealt the final debilitating blow, sealing her fate in the heart of the Erd Tree for all eternity. Malekith's involvement would explain not only the crimson color of the spear, but also the incredible amount of damage Marika's physical form sustained during her imprisonment. Ironically, the very rune she planned to use against the Greater Will proved to be the instrument of her doom. Even the chosen vessel of the Elden Ring was not exempt from the overwhelming burden of godhood. Marika's source seal describes the poetic irony of her fate, as its flavor text states, "Solemn duty weighs upon the one beholden, not unlike a gnawing curse from which there is no deliverance." And that's all for this video. Until next time, it's the Inhuman One signing out.